From my perspective, at the end of the day, when we look at racism, the reason racism exists is not because people don't recognize racism. It's not because people won't admit that they're racist. It's because human beings' self-definitions are still way too wrapped up in their ethnicity, in their culture, in their nationality, where they think that the way I look and the country I was born in, the ethnic group that I was born in, that's where I come from. That's what makes me me as a being. But to me, that's not the case at all. Where I come from is life. Where you come from is life. Where black people, white people, Asian people, Native American people, any ethnic group that you can think of, where do we come from? Where do trees and animals come from, and rocks? We all come from life. We all come from the same, we all share the same essence, the same source. And yes, it might sound cliche and spiritual, but I'm not talking about airy-fairy new age bullshit. I'm talking about a basic common sense principle that you can see for yourself if you just look. I mean, where do we all come from? Don't we all come from life? Isn't that where we come from? And as life, we're equal. We're the same. We're one. We're not different races. We're not different ethnicities. Our beingness doesn't have color. Our beingness doesn't have a different picture presentation ethnicity. It's an expression. And that beingness, that expression comes through and becomes a person in this life within the body, within the ethnicity, within the appearance, within the country that you're born into. But that's not where you come from. I think as long as we keep defining ourselves, according to all of these points of ethnicity and culture and nationality, and saying that's where I come from, the more we basically entrench the fact that we're different, the fact that we're defined by the historical conflict between different ethnic groups, instead of saying, well, why aren't we defined by the life as which we're equal? Why don't we start teaching critical equality theory, critical life theory? Because to me, that's how racism is going to end, where, over time, if the idea that we're equal as life and that where we all come from is the same place, and we're only different as people in these bodies that we're living this lifetime in for a moment, if we could teach that, it might help expand people's ideas of what identity is. It's actually really limited to say that where I come from and what defines me and my identity is my skin color, is the culture of, where I was born into, the ethnic history. You're basically binding yourself to this specific set of parameters, and then you're also going to feel like more of a victim or more superior, depending on what ethnicity you happen to be born into. So I think we should be teaching this point of equality, this principle of equality, rather than obsessing over trying to get everyone to show that they know racism exists and to feel guilty about the past. I mean, we can focus on the past and admit our guilt, and I mean, we can do that till the end of time, because there's been war and conflict and enslavement and violence back for thousands of years. It's part of every culture. It's part of every civilization, every ethnic group. I think we need to stop focusing on that and start focusing on what makes us equal.